Well, leading up to this test match, we thought, there's nothing wrong with our scrums. We put under a bit of pressure. What's your take?
So we got the first one, which I think was a justified penalty. This one was a bit obscure. So if that's standing up and they get the penalty, and they just watch from the scrum, all the other scrums of the Australian pack walking around and going in back on the inside. This one, again, I thought Kitsi was caught a little bit off guard there. He saw the left foot going back. So that's the right penalty. And then here, all of a sudden, so if all those other penalties had gone their way, why did this one not come our way? For exactly the same sort of scenario. And if you look at this man, Tupou, and this one as well, this one goes towards us. Have a look at the knees on the ground. There's no question that that's flattened and pancaked by South Africa. That penalty should have gone the other way. You can just see the knees go to ground and he flattens out. As we get towards the last sequence of scrums, just look at the angle of Tupou there again. Right on the angle, flank going in, and that's illegal scrumming right in front of our referee, who does absolutely nothing about it. Let's look at the scrum that won them the match. Look at the angle of his back, just behind his scrum off there, White. Look at the angle going straight in towards the other side, and you'll see he turns himself right towards the touchline. That is illegal scrumming, and you watch the back row as they're coming around the right-hand side. Completely illegal, walking through the gap there. That penalty should go to South Africa, should never have gone towards Australia.
Also looked like a knock-on, was trying to compete for the ball. So, Campo, I mean, how do they rectify that? How do you work around that? Because there's not much you can rectify.
Well, you've got to sit with the referee. I mean, for me, it's clear and pretty obvious. To the naked eye, you would think that, yes, Australia have got the benefit of having an upper hand against us in the scrums, but they did it illegally. They would have done it illegally. Also, their coach, Peter Tupou, he knows a few of our players. He's their scrum coach for Australia. And Tupou has done this for a number of years. He was penalised quite heavily for it, but now all of a sudden it's come back into his repertoire. So you would think that sitting with the referee, Don Human, with the head coach, sits with the referee, explains to him, this is what we've seen from Australia. Please, can you watch it? And that, for me, it was very obvious to the naked eye.
I tell you what, after 35 years in this game, I still don't know the difference who's going in. If I look at my hand there, and I say to you my right hand is pushing in. No, it's not. My left hand is pushing. So how do you see...
Do you want to have a quick go?
If Robbi
that's why we're here.
If Robbi shows us that angle again, why can't you say that the green loose went in? Or why is it that guy? Is it, for me, they say there's a checklist, Robbi, and the viewers would like to know this. Is it the elbow? What is it? Is it spine and line? Because I can't say there who's guilty. And then the AR, he's behind the 9s and 10s.
You just have to look at exactly where their hips are. So the hips are meant to be parallel to the touchline, and that's where the camera's looking straight into the back of them. So there's no question that they're going in on an angle. Have a look at his angle of his body is right there. Again, his hips are right towards the touchline, not parallel. For me, that's something very simple any referee could pick up in a game, particularly with the tight heads.
That makes sense, Swys?
No, listen,
I'm with you.
When Robbi explains it to me, eventually I buy in and I understand. But in the heat of the moment, for the naked eye, the ref stands on the other side, the AR is behind the two little halfbacks. To make that call there, all for me, it feels like they look, who's getting the ascendancy? Who's really going forward, although there was walking around? But for me, it's still a guess. I'm honest with that, it's still a guess because I see, look at that there. Robbi showed us 4 scrums. 4 vital scrums. 2 went our way, 2 went their way, and 3 of them should have gone the other way. So that is my point. It proves my point, doesn't it?
So, Swys, I mean, let's take safety into consideration. How would you simplify it where we don't get that guess?
Look, you're asking the wrong guy now. My viewpoint is just give us the ball so we can play. Robbi, you should maybe
from a
jump
safety point of view, going on the angle is probably the most dangerous thing you can do as a tight head. You're putting the hooker of the opposition at an immense risk because you're literally going into the side of him. You're putting him into precarious position as far as where his neck is and the pressure's coming from his side of the scrum. So, to keep them straight, I don't think it's a difficult thing. All you've got to do is watch the hips and ensure the hips are parallel to the touchline. If they're not, then obviously the tight head or loose head is going in on the angle. It's not too difficult to notice if they're doing a sort of a waltz around the corner. It's pretty obvious exactly what the Australians were doing there.
So it's obvious to me and you. Sway says he's got the question mark, you've got the referees as well. And just that 50-50 call, Sway, that's what we got today. It was the naked eye having a look and thinking, the enigma of the scrum again, enigma of the breakdown. I'm going to go with So those kind of things.
So
But it's rugby, something
I
rugby
know
needs to
Swys
sort
and
out.
Joel are going to love me saying this. Well, reset the thing.
Reset.
or go short arm one, short arm the other way. I just think, making a vital decision like that towards the end of the game. Did we deserve to win? No. Yes, Australia did. Doesn't matter. But scrum, which should have gone our way because of illegal scrumming, I don't think that. I mean, that doesn't make Luke Pearce a bad referee. I think it needs to be cleaned up and explained to referees of just how important scrumming is, and particularly them learning about scrumming. How props go on the angle, unfortunately we do. We try to get one hand up against the other.
That's the point.
So props are naughty little buggers, as are hookers. Don't just laugh at me. So it's the referee trying to work out which one's doing it. South Africa, unfortunately, we're very honest scrummers. We try to keep it flat, we try to keep it straight, we try to get the momentum going straight. Whereas, as we can see, Australia just aren't.